Hey guys, what's going on here? This is Andrew again, back at you with another video. And this week I was actually tagged by indirectly by Culture Freak to do a 22 question video, and I thought this would be like a kind of a cool switch up. So yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna get into this. Yeah, it's 22 questions. First question is, what is your favorite movie? Now, if I tell you, I go back and forth between these two films, Halloween 2 and The Exorcist. It really depends on my mood. If I'm in the mood, obviously, to watch a more fun 80s slasher, it's this. And if I'm in any other kind of mood, it's The Exorcist. And really, though, in my opinion, like, The Exorcist kind of transcends the horror genre a little bit. So, it's not the end of the world that I would pick that or Halloween 2. It kind of depends on my mood, really. Favorite scenes from those movies. For Halloween 2, it'd have to be the chase scene. I love the chase scene. It's just fucking awesome. And in The Exorcist, honestly, I'd have to choose the scene where they're in the bar at the beginning of the movie and they're kind of like having drinks and he like tells about like how he lost his faith and everything like that, and he's talking about the occupation of some of the priests at the church and at the university, and that kind of foreshadows the rest of the film, and it kind of foreshadows the rest of the story and what the film is about. So those are kind of my two favorite scenes from those movies. Favorite actors. That would have to be, for one, Donald Pleasence. The more I thought about it, Donald Pleasence is just, he makes this series. I mean, I can't really think of another guy who really just makes a series like this. And the other one would have to be Robert De Niro. I absolutely love Robert De Niro. Anything he's in is just golden to me. Like, even he's done a couple horror films, and I've really liked him in them, although I don't own them yet. Yeah, I mean, with that, and then favorite actresses. Now I went with like actresses is their like main thing that they do. Chloe Grace Moretz and Danielle Harris. This is Among Friends. This is Danielle Harris's directorial debut. Like this film. But yeah, Danielle Harris and Chloe Grace Moretz, always been favorites. I've liked them for years. Like I said, this is my favorite remake. If you've seen my remake video, yeah, I love them. Best director. Now I'm gonna have to go with an all-time director and a director today. All-time, Wes Craven. Just absolutely love Wes Craven. Just phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, I've never disliked a movie that he's been in. And favorite director of today, because Wes Craven unfortunately has sadly passed away, so probably no more films. I mean, no more films by him. That would have to be Insidious, with James Wan, should I say. Yeah, I mean, Insidious is awesome. The Conjuring is awesome. The Conjuring Part 2 is awesome. Dead Silence is awesome. Saw is awesome. I mean, this guy knows how to direct horror. I actually haven't seen his non-horrors yet, but I've always heard that they're going to be fun, and I will be seeing Aquaman when it comes into theaters too. But yeah, I mean, I hope he doesn't ever like leave the genre forever, but he's going to do action for a while, so I've heard in interviews. Question number 6 is guilty pleasure. That would have to go to Swamp Thing. This is a superhero film. I just fucking love it. It's a Wes Craven film, written and directed by him. I mean, it's just cheese, terrible special effects. It's just so fun, though, to watch. I absolutely love it. Number 7's a different one. It's Tearjerker. These would actually have to go to Titanic and If I Stay. If I Stay is a movie that came out in 2014, I believe. Yeah, I can't remember, actually. Yeah, 2014. It has Chloe Grace Moretz in it. I really love this film. It's actually a really good story. I recommend it. And Titanic, I mean, everybody's seen this. James Cameron's epic. I've always, like, a funny thing about me is that I was always fascinated with, like, ships, anything like that whenever I was little. So Titanic was always a fascination of mine, even before this film came out. And then when this came out, I remember it when it came out into theaters. I was 4 years old. I didn't see it in theaters, but I watched it as soon as it came out on rental and VHS, and I've always loved it. It looks phenomenal on Blu-ray too. Character that scared me the most. I watched this movie originally when I was 5 years old, and she scared the shit out of me. And that would be Betsy Palmer from the original Friday the 13th. My God, is she so creepy. Even when I watch it today, she is creepy as hell. I mean, if you just she just really always creeped me out. For once, like, for the thing is that when you first see her, you're like, oh man, she's just this, like, gentle, kind mother, and then she turns into this creepy fucking woman. And I really, really was creeped out by her. Next up is a movie I love that everybody hates. Now, I mean, if you watch my videos, you kind of know that, like, I mean, any number of these films are kind of my thing. I know that the Paranormal Activity series is hated, My Soul to Take's hated, The Happening was hated. It Follows has become really popular to hate. Noah was hated, more specifically by the religious, like really conservative religious community. I love this film, loved It Follows, loved The Happening. My Soul to Take, I mean, this is my favorite Wes Craven film, one of my favorite horror films of all time. Paranormal Activity 3. The Paranormal Activity series has been hated in general. This one hated that I actually think is one of my personal favorites of the series. Yeah, I can't really say anything more about it. I love it. Movie I hate that everybody loves. I don't actually own it, but I would have to say it's the Cabin in the Woods. I honestly really hated it. I really didn't like I think the tongue-in-cheek just didn't work for me in that film. It really felt like it was making fun of the horror genre, not necessarily making a parody Scream style of it. And I just didn't like the tone that it had. Like, I just didn't like it. Yeah, and favorite duo. The more I thought about it, I was like, oh, this is cool. Ed and Lorraine Warren from the Conjuring series. Just, I mean, now that they've had 2 films, they work so well together. And James Wan does a good job of directing them. They're really likable characters. So, yeah. I just absolutely love them. Favorite animated. Now, this is a funny thing, is that I don't actually own an animated film at this point. I feel really bad about that. But I will go with an animated show. Godzilla the series. I really, really like this series. This is based on the 98 Godzilla, so you see this is like the shape of the 98 Godzilla. So if you're not a fan of that one, you will still kind of, I think, like it, because he does breathe fire, like the actual radioactive, fire that he does in the original, Toho Godzilla. I think people who are fans of both of them would actually kind of like this one. So, yeah, there is that. Next up, my actress crush. That would be the one and only Selena Gomez. I don't need to say anymore. I'm just gonna go with that. This is her in Spring Breakers. I love this film. It's a really, really good film. Yeah, just don't need to say much else. Favorite movie villain. That would be Jason from the Friday the 13th series. Always have loved Jason. I specifically picked these because this is Kane Hodder, my favorite Jason. I mean, Jason from there, Jason from Part 8. I mean, Part 7 is my favorite looking Jason too, and I do have Friday the 13th ring that I wear all the time, so I love me some Jason. Movie that surprised me the most. Now, I will say that I went specifically with ones that I've seen in theaters. This is one that actually I may be biased because I just watched this last night, but this I go with Insidious Chapter 3. Now, I am a fan of the Insidious series. As you've seen earlier, I showed Insidious 1. I'm not the biggest fan of the second one, I think like the story is just a big drop off. But the third one here, I really love. I really love the fact that they made Lin Shaye the hero of the series. And Stephanie Scott's another one that I watched on Ant Farm when I was growing up with Disney Channel. I really love her in this film. And James Wan is a producer, and Leigh Whannell wrote and directed this. This is why I was like, why it surprised me. I didn't know what to think of how Leigh Whannell would direct this film. But it's got this energy to it that really works, and it's got this really good story, and the pacing is perfect. You know, and he has some cinematography. Like his directing is like very much in the style of James Wan, and I love it. I think it just works perfectly for me. Like he just does such a phenomenal job. If I could keep only one movie for the rest of my life, man, I really hate the fact that I would ever have to make this decision. I would forever go back and forth on these 4 films. I mean, I would just forever go back and forth on them. It just would be unfair for me to have to choose. If I could recommend one movie, I mean, as a horror fan, I would recommend these 2. Yeah, I mean, as a movie fan in general, I could recommend those 2 and Titanic. You know, any of the, you know, those movies that, you know, really work. I mean, these are some of my favorites of all time, so. Yeah. Go Back in Time and Marry an Actress. This is from, you know, when I was growing up, but she's unfortunately too old for me to marry now. But I would have to say Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah, I mean, she's just beautiful. Yeah, there is that. Remake I wish had never been made. I don't actually own it, and that is Black Christmas. I don't necessarily think that Black Christmas didn't need to be remade. I really think they could have done a good job. But the story's just fucking terrible. Like, it's just so stupid and unnecessary. Some of the... Like, I like some of the characters that they have in the film, but, like, the backstory to the character, to Billy and Agnes, is just stupid. It's just fucking terrible. And it just annoys me. And I really just don't like it. I really wish... Necessarily, I think I would say that wish it would have been remade differently. I'm not against remakes. I really think remakes are... The only one that I don't think should ever be remade is The Exorcist. For one, we have so many paranormal exorcism type movies already that kind of serve as remakes of The Exorcist. Whether you could say The Possession or The Rite. Some of those function as... And The Last Exorcism. Some of those function as Exorcist remakes. And this is just the perfect film. I mean, in all actuality, you cannot get, in my opinion... acting, storyline, direction, all of that, you cannot get any better than The Exorcist, in my opinion. It just is flawless in every way. So, like, I just don't think it should ever be remade. So, next question is, I'm about to die if I could have one movie to watch. You know, again, this is another one that's really cruel to make me choose. Bring out the same movies. Even throw in Spring Breakers just for the... No, I'd throw in Neighbors too, because it has both Chloe Grace Moretz and Selena Gomez in it. Yeah, favorite genre and movie in that genre, it goes back to my first you know, thing. These are probably my top 3 horror films of all time. Honestly, The Conjuring 2 might be in the top 10 or top 5 somewhere. I don't honestly know. I'd have to really think more about it. And then first movie that I remember watching in cinema. Now, these both came out, I think, in the same year. I believe these are both 1998 releases. Yep, these are both 98. And that would be Godzilla and Small Soldiers. I know I went to see both of these in cinema. I always remember loving this. Now, these movies are movies that I would watch all the time, especially on VHS too. The thing about Godzilla is that it's a really like a popcorn movie where you just kind of pop it in and you watch it and it's just a good time. This could serve as a guilty pleasure too. I understand it's not like a good film necessarily, but I still really love the film. And this, for horror fans, by the way, this is made by Joe Dante, who also made Gremlins and who also made The Howling. So he's got some horror films on under his belt, and you can definitely tell with this. It's got some darker tones to it, and definitely has some menace to it. Man, this is such a... Because I've always been like like toys and stuff was always a thing for me growing up, and toys that come alive. I had every one of these small soldiers. I used to kind of play with them and pretend that they were alive and stuff. It was really an imagination thing. And I just remember watching these so much. And I still really like these to this day. So, yeah, those are two that I remember growing up, watching growing up, should I say. So, yeah, that was my 20. I actually went through 21. I skipped annoying actors and actresses because I just don't really have one. I don't really think about that all that much. But yeah, without further ado, I mean, that's my questions. Hopefully you enjoyed them. Please let me know what you think, guys. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, I mean, please get back to me. Let me know what you think about them. Yeah, as always, thanks, guys, for tuning in. Also, if I could tag one person, I would like Walking Dead fan to do this video as well. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a great day.